The Prince of Japanese Street Fighter has returned and demands the world see him be crowned. What am I talking about? Of course, I'm talking about CPT Japan, which just took place over this weekend as one of the final CPT events of the Capcom Pro Tour season. We only have 2 CPT premieres online left, which is US East, US Midwest, and then the LCQ spot remaining. So we're at the very end of the season, and the top level Japanese competitors have all come out in waves here to compete for the final spot for the Japanese region. Over 925 attendees, and they're all the top level players from Japan that you've ever heard of. Japan is undoubtedly the most competitively dense and strongest region for Street Fighter on the planet, and that makes this CPT event possibly the hardest qualifier in the world, besides arguably Evo. Evo had over 7,000 people entering, but some of the top level Japanese talent didn't attend due to travel restrictions. So you can make the argument either way. To be quite honest, this region is just stupid stacked, and every top level player that you've ever heard of from Japan is in this bracket competing for the final spot for their region, because one top level player isn't in this tournament, and that's Fudo. Fudo qualified through the World Warrior Regional Finals a few months prior with his DJ, so he did not actually enter this bracket, even though he was the number 1 seed. They didn't remove him from the bracket. They just kind of mess up that part of the bracket, which was a little weird, but whatever. It's no big deal. Fudo wasn't competing, but many top-level players were competing, including players you might not be too familiar with who are extremely strong. Players like Hiiki the Beast. Hiiki the Beast is undoubtedly the number 1 Lily player on the planet. He casually wins tournaments with Capcom Cup qualifiers like Gachikun in them. He has tournament wins over players like NL. So he's beating people who are qualified for Capcom Cup with Lily, doing it regularly. He even casually gets number 1 MR on the leaderboard, so being ranked number 1 online with Lily. So he enters this tournament. How does he do? He doesn't do too bad. Who was his first opponent in the bracket? Daigo the Beast. We have the new school Hiiki the Beast going up against Daigo the Beast. And round 1, this is Daigo's round 1 match, because Hiiki the Beast was unseated. Look at the bait here. He baits the dry brush command grab, gets the air-to-air conversion to the DP right there. And Daigo is in loser of the most important tournament of the season for him in round 1. Why? Daigo was seated properly. Hibiki's unseated. I don't know. Street Fighter Esports is kind of weird. There's definitely other players who are much weaker where they could have seated them more appropriately, so Daigo wouldn't have to play Hiiki the Beast round 1. But I guess Hiiki steals the Beast title for today. But don't fret. Daigo proceeds to go on an absolute tear in the losers bracket after dropping 2-1 in his first round to Hiiki the Beast. He drops to losers and then goes 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-1. No, a couple 2-0s, 2-0s, 2-1, there it is. Scary round there for Daigo, 2-0. He proceeds to win 11 straight sets to get into the top 16 from loser side, going to losers practically round 1. What a marathon to do in such a just frighteningly strong region. So he does crack the top 16. But what's notable here is the players that aren't in top 16, right? There's so many strong players in here. Players that I was rooting for. Of course, I'm a JP main. I'm biased. I was watching Nemo and Kakadu stream their runs. And then for some reason, I inflicted the worst version of commentator's curse, reactor's curse I have ever seen inflicted upon these players. He's dead! He's dead! Let's fucking go, plot art. Oh, he baited you. Oh, but it didn't matter. He moved too far. Yo, I dropped that combo too. Why is that combo so hard? Good block. Good block. That's why he's the fucking GOAT. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So players like Kakadu, who was a big favorite to win the entire event, not just to go forward to win. He's had such a spectacular CPT season. He drops out before top 16, and then Nemo gets Honda in the absolute most brutal fashion. But I do want to give a shout out to the Honda player, Key. He went on an incredible run. In winners, he beats Higuchi 2-0, another favorite to go super far in the bracket, the best Guile player in Japan. Nemo 2-1. He goes to top 32 where he drops to Kazunoko 2-1 in a very close set, and then goes on to eliminate Yurio, longtime top level Street Fighter 4 Sakura Sea Viper player, competing heavily now in Street Fighter 6, beats Yurio 2-0 to go to top 16. He falls in top 16, but I believe that this is the best performance Honda has ever had in a CPT event. So Honda top 16 out of 925 players in CPT Japan. That's absolutely amazing. So shout out to Key. Even though I'm not a huge fan of Honda in this iteration, that's undoubtedly amazing, amazing gameplay and performance. So if you're interested in Honda, check out Key's gameplay. But that brings us to the actual top 8 and our cast of characters in the finals bracket. On the winner side, we have Kazunoko going up against Otani, Akira versus Kawano, Nauman versus Jachi in the first losers match, and then Tokido versus KB. So if you're paying attention to the character spread here, we have Cammy Luke, Ken JP. Now listen, I understand that might sound disappointing. Jachi does play Kimberly as well. He's not just a JP player. And the lack of variety might be disappointing to a lot of viewers, but I promise you the gameplay delivers. And also, these players are more than just the characters they pick. They have histories, they have stories, and they have been legends in the scene for quite some time, or players in the process of making their legend a reality right now. Kazunoko, what more needs to be said about this man? The 2015 Capcom Cup Championship, the last Capcom Cup Championship for Street Fighter 4 at its peak, taking it over Daigo in the grand finals with his Yun. DBFZ World Tour Champion, Guilty Gear God, Samsho Evo Grand Finalist. This guy just picks up any fighting game he wants and becomes a contender for the top player in the world in that game. Not many players on the planet come close to his level of fighting game accomplishments, and he's just casually sneaking in the top 8 here in CPT Japan. Otani's a much younger player in the scene, but he's been cooking for quite some time. In fact, in 2018, he came over to CEO and beat my ass in the losers bracket with his really strong Akuma in Street Fighter 5, and he's been rocking Luke in Street Fighter 6 and building up his momentum in this game and cracked top 8 with some amazing gameplay. Akira here, he's cheesing, and it reflects his style of gameplay. He is the most offensive Cammy I've seen in this game and has been known as the nutty offensive Cammy for quite some time in Japan. So, you know, he's doing his thing in the bracket. The smile definitely reflects the gameplay for sure. And then, of course, Kawano, the EVO 2022 Street Fighter 5 champion, is back in the winner's side of top 8, showing that he's still around and kicking in Street Fighter 6 as well. And then we have Nauman. So Nauman here is the EVO Japan 2020 champion. He won EVO Japan right before the pandemic broke out, before we went all to online gameplay, and he did it with Sakura. And, you know, a version of the game where nobody expected Sakura to have any kind of high-level success and performance. He comes out of nowhere as a relative unknown player to win with Sakura in a huge stacked event, and so he's back again doing work with his Ken. And Joshi's kind of the newer player on the block for me. His Kimberly is ridiculous, and he's earned the prestigious title of being the worst player I've ever played, according to Punk, when he came to Japan and lost to Joshi in a ranked set. And, you know, Joshi, he definitely likes to mix up his opponents with his Kimberly, and he reflects that Kimberly playstyle with his JP as well. And then, of course, Tokido, the murder face, even though he's looking very wholesome and handsome in this photo. What more needs to be said about this guy? If you're watching this channel, you know Tokido and his legend. And then KB, and the people who are in the weeds with fighting games might recognize this player. This is actually Bon, old school, top-level Street Fighter 4 player, top-level world-class DBFZ player with World Tour finals finishes and wins over players like Sonic Fox, top-level Guilty Gear Strife Soul player, doing it big in Street Fighter 6 as well. So this bracket is not just a collection of characters, it's also players with top-level talent and prestigious fighting game history doing their best to earn their spot into the Capcom Cup for Street Fighter 6. But as we whittle the bracket down to the final sets here, Kawano with 3-2 wins in both the sets goes on to grand finals on the winner's side. Losers finals, Otani versus Akira. This is probably my favorite set of the tournament. Otani was up 2-0 against Akira before Akira turned up the gas. Otani could not figure out what was going on. I mean, every Cammy shenanigan you could think of, all the jumps, the empty jumps, the hooligan grabs, the dive kicks, every mix-up he applied was working without Otani having any answer to respond. And Akira managed to tie it up 2-2 and bring it to the final game, final round, when he was hit with this interaction right here. Yes, You saw that right. Akira is smiling no more. He was streaming his run. He has to reel back after that one. Otani, after being toyed with for 2 games in a round straight, says, screw it. At this point, I'm going to whiff my crouching medium punch and attempt to buffer this and get some momentum going. If you do not whiff punish this right now, or if you attempt to whiff punish and miss, you're dead. If you don't attempt to whiff punish and you block, I lose. The low forward whiff punish would have killed him with this amount of health and the level 3 on deck for Akira. So he said, screw it, whiff crouching medium punch, level 2. We one of us is winning or losing right here, right now. So Otani has the final say over Akira. But Akira, shouts out to you with a 3rd place finish. Super fantastic Kami gameplay. But that brings us to our grand finals. Yes, it is a Luke mirror, but there's something interesting about this set. Kawano here in the grand finals. It really got me thinking about how Kawano has been kind of denied his chance to really show the world and have the world accept him as the best Street Fighter player on the planet. Because for a time, that's what he was. Kawano had been competing for many years and didn't really start to see success until later in 2020. So, of course, in 2021, when he starts to peak in his competitive form, the world is isolated. We're in lockdown. We're competing only in our own regions, and a lot of our events are online only. But even at this time, in 2021, Kawano first wins Topanga League, the Topanga Championship, which is the most prestigious invitational event for Street Fighter in Japan, where the likes of players like Daigo, Tokido, Kazunoko, Bonchan, etc., they're competing for the title of Topanga Championships, and he has won that event in 2021 over Tokido, earning himself a cool, 2,500,000 yen, $22,000 right there. He then goes on to win EVO 2021 online, when EVO did these regional online events to crown EVO champions for each region. He wins it over top level players in Japan as well. He also then wins CPT 2021 online event number 4 in Japan over players like Tokido, because they're doing the CPT online during this era as well. He also goes on to win Street Fighter V Champion Edition Japan Open for Street Fighter V with his Colleen as well. And all of this, most of it is primarily online, so a lot of it is kind of invisible to the Western audiences. Even the offline Topanga League, if you're not really paying attention from the West, you're not going to be seeing this event happen. It's a lot different than the traditional CPT offline format, where top players would be traveling to North American events and events all over the world, and it's all streamed on the Capcom Fighters channel. It's very easy to miss these wins. So he's building himself up as the top player in Japan, but the rest of the world isn't really seeing that. Well, he wanted to put a stop to that at EVO 2022, where he shattered America's hopes and dreams, where Idom was a round away from winning a Street Fighter EVO for America and for himself. And Kawano, shut that dream down short. And he won EVO 2022 with over 1,300 entrants in the bracket. Definitely a super stacked event, and the final EVO for Street Fighter V. He then goes on to, with his team Good 8 Squad, win Street Fighter League Japan and also Street Fighter League World Championship, right? Him, Kawano, Dogura, Gachikun, and Bugera are dominating in Street Fighter League across the world, in both Japan and internationally. There he is, holding the $80,000 check. So Kawano is having a ton of success. However, the end of Street Fighter V does end on a little bit of a downer for him. He ends at 9th place at the final Capcom Cup, which for Kawano, after such a spectacular year for Street Fighter V, 2 years for Street Fighter V, is definitely not the result he was expecting. In fact, he was upset by Vega Patch out of Spain with his Fong. He lost there right before top 8 to Vega Patch's Fong, which was a huge upset. And it was an event that many people expected Kawano to potentially win it all, right? To win both EVO and Capcom Cup in the same year, get the Grand Slam year, which no player has ever achieved. So since then, he's kind of been not performing to the same degree as soon as Street Fighter 6 has begun. In fact, his team Good 8 Squad, which consists of top level players like Gachikun, who's qualified for Capcom Cup, they were eliminated in the first round of Street Fighter League Japan with the second worst record, 3-5 record here. They were eliminated and didn't even proceed to the second phase of Street Fighter League Japan. So if you did not watch the first phase of Street Fighter League Japan, you probably have seen very little of Kawano's gameplay in Street Fighter 6. And he also did not do too well in the World Warrior program either. His results weren't great. So at this time, he's still trying to build up his skill level, build up his experience and confidence in this game. But this CPT Japan is where he decided he wanted to remind the world that, yes, once upon a time, I was the best. And you know what? I might still be the best today, because he finds himself in position to win the tournament. He ties up the tournament set after being down 2-1 to make it 2-2, goes on to tournament point. And Bulldogs is weighing against Otani to find the final drive rush confirmed to close out the round and to close out the tournament and to become the champion of undoubtedly the hardest CPT qualifier on the planet. Over 900 of the world's strongest players in this bracket, and Kawano is your CPT Japan champion. And he's ready for the world to witness his greatness firsthand once again in person and to say, hey, don't forget about the prince. And what does the prince have to say about this achievement? And what does he want to say to the world at this time? Japanese sushi. Tweets this out after qualifying in the hardest tournament we've seen so far. Looks delicious. Eat up, king. And that's all I have for this video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this recap of CPT Japan, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.